Hello, welcome to Monte Carlo to Marlow. This podcast is sponsored by the Marlow Living Loyalty app. Welcome to Monte Carlo to Marlow, and we're sat here in beautiful Bray in glorious sunshine, and I'm with Anne Jirsch, and her office building is in these beautiful grounds. Tell us where we are, Anne, and why you live here.
We're in our Weir Bank, Bray Business Centre in Bray, gourmet capital of England. We've got so many Michelin star restaurants, which is great if you want to eat out, but you can't do that every day.
This is your office. I mean, what an office.
It's great, yeah, and we're right on the river, so it's a really good energy for clients. When they cut something, if it's a nice day, I can sit outside with them.
Yeah, we've even managed to get Wi-Fi out here. We hope.
Yeah.
So explain what it is that you do, because you do so many different things that a lot of people wouldn't think of as conventional business or conventional work, and yet you work with a lot of people in big industry.
I do.
And you kind of slip in as the person they don't always want to admit they work with. So explain what you do.
Well, baseline is, I suppose I'd call myself a fortune teller, but my whole thing is about anticipating, seeing the future, using your intuition. And we're living in a time, the times has changed. Just from your parents' day, nothing much changed. Now, industry will be changing. You need to constantly reinvent yourself. Your job is going to go to AI. I've been saying this for years. People thought I was being alarmist. Now they're saying, what have you got for me? So I started off reading tarot cards. I did that for many, many years. Then I started working with past life. And then I had an amazing experience where I was working with some military, and we started to glimpse world events, and that changed everything in my world.
So you've always been looking at the future?
Always.
Even when you're looking at the past?
Yeah, always looking into the future. I think if you stay as you are and you try and build your life from where you are, you're going to slip backwards. That's how fast the world is changing. You're just going to slip back or get stuck. And I'm forever coming across people saying, I'm stuck, I don't know which way to go, I'm frozen, too many options. Well,
so how do you tap into, obviously every individual has got, their own way or their own path and things that they want to find out, but how do you actually tap into that person and give them the advice that they're looking for?
Right, so when I'm doing a reading, I use cards and they talk to me. That's the only way I can explain it. I sit with someone and it all just opens up. As soon as I start working with someone, I start to get answers, and I picture in my head words, whatever it is, and that's how I guide people. And it's funny, as you're saying, in industry, I had one guy, and he said he used to tell his secretary he was seeing his psychiatrist, because that was more.
He'd rather say he was seeing a psychiatrist than having his tarot read.
Yeah.
So, but how did you start off learning how to read cards?
That was weird, because when I was young, I tried several times, and it was so complicated. But what does it mean when it's next to that one? I went off to India. I spent a year in India, and I met this guru who's actually a beggar, really, and he just opened me up. When I come back, I opened up cards and I knew what they meant.
And did he read cards? And
No,
no,
he just opened sight. So I never learned the cards. Now I teach them, and if anybody wants to read cards, you just break it down. There's 4 suits.
I've been to your tarot class.
I must do that again.
It was really interesting.
It's really easy to read. I can teach anyone in a couple of hours. So forget all the complicated long courses. Forget them. Anyone can learn in a couple of hours.
But then it's the interpretation. As you say, you could look at a card and say, right, the death card doesn't mean death, it means change. So it's actually quite positive. But then it's thinking, it's your intuition, I guess, and your training and vision that helps give someone more than if they were just reading themselves.
That always happens. I had a girl say to me, I don't feel I'm psychic enough to read cards. And I said, well, don't sit waiting to get psychic. Start reading the card, that opens up. And it does. All of a sudden, you know things. I remember a girl said to me, I was working with a woman and she was deeply religious, but I had a feeling she had a drink problem. She said, I pulled out some cards and said to her, you drinking too much? And the woman said, yes. And I said, well, there isn't a drinking too much tarot card, is there? How did you know that?
That's funny. So you started off doing the cards.
Yeah.
And was that giving you a career? Were you making a living?
Oh, yeah, I built a big client. I did it 20 years, so I had a big client base. That was my full-time job. I still read cards. We've got mutual people in LA. At 4 o'clock, my phone starts ringing.
Yeah.
Darling,
I need to know.
Yeah. So, yes.
Well, I've said to you when we're here today, I'm going to need you to pull a card on that thing, because I think that I'm really open to card readings and I believe in it, and I don't live my life by tarot readings, but I think it really helps you to think differently.
Yeah.
I think if you trust the person that you're having the reading with, it is like going to a therapist in a way, because you're getting this advice from someone who's only wanting the best for you.
Yeah.
So there's no agenda.
Well, people kind of test you out, especially big shots. I mean, this deals with a Hollywood director all afternoon.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. And I've read for him for probably 25 years. I've read for him for many, many years. Really lovely, kind man, really sweet guy. And what they do is they'll come and see you. And if you just talk a lot of nonsense, they're not going to come back.
No, you don't keep a client for 25 years if you're not giving them what they're looking for.
Yeah, well, I predicted a couple of things for him just over a year ago that he just said that I always trust you, and there's no way that can happen.
You would never
he's calling me up going, what's next?
What's next?
Yeah.
So interesting.
You've got to be correct. I do more business readings.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Business people tend to come to me. It's mainly business, but I think somebody said to me a little while ago, you get business.
Well, I guess if you've got a business brain, that's what you're looking for more.
Yeah.
And you've also written many books. You've written 6 books, is it?
I have. Do you know, it's a funny thing about, because I work with Future Vision, which is taking people to see their own future. And so the 3rd book, I wrote that by sending my head off into the future to see what we know in the future that we need to know now. And that did really well. I mean, it went ballistic in quite a few countries. And that was a few years back. The publisher contacted me last year and said, we want to re-release it. So they re-released it with a new name. So I've written 5 books, but they're out in 14 languages.
I know, I just looked up 14 languages. That's incredible.
It's good, yeah.
But don't you think, as a nation, as a planet, that we are more open, we are more interested in things that some people would describe as woo-woo?
Yeah.
I think, I listen to Chris Evans in the morning on the radio, and Aries man, not necessarily someone that would be interested in cards or energies. And, he now claims he's a woo-woo convert.
Yeah.
And I think, I guess as you explain that once you, like your film director client, once you start giving them information that there's absolutely no way you would have known about, then the trust is there.
Yeah. You do it consistently every time you see them, they start to call you up a lot.
You said you've worked with soldiers and people in the military.
Yeah.
And that was to help with PTSD and to look at future life and past life. So explain a bit about the hypnotherapy practices that you do.
Right. I trained in clinical hypnotherapy because there was no training. I've been doing this a lot of years, since the dinosaurs roamed. And there weren't any training, so I trained in clinical hypnotherapy and wrote my own script, started working with past life. And again, I did that for many years. And some military guys come to see me. They're great guys, and they wanted to know something from the past. I think they were testing me out because they kept having past life regression sessions with me. And it was weird because one had come in, he'd see himself as a Viking, the other one had come in. They kept seeing themselves in combat lifetime after lifetime together. It was really extraordinary.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was amazing to work with them. But there was something they wanted to know about the past. And so I brought somebody else in. I thought, I'll see if I can see, because it was obviously something military and important. And instead of going back, we all jumped forward and we saw the attack on Twin Towers 3 weeks before it happened. And this changed the whole course of my life. It changed the whole course of my work. At the time, we thought we'd just had a bad session. We went up the pub and went, well, that didn't work out. So we didn't see what we were trying to see from the past. 3 weeks later, when it happened, it was really deeply upsetting because we didn't know enough to stop it.
Yeah.
What's the point? Mark Twain said, what's the point of seeing every bird that falls, if you don't catch it? And after a while, we kind of were so shocked that we'd seen it in such detail, but didn't understand what we'd seen.
How could you? It was just
unprecedented. So we started to experiment, and we consistently predicted world events. So the big question, where's bin Laden? And so I did some remote viewing and I said, I know where he is. He's up the Kuiper Pass. You end up with these mad conversations in this line of work. And then I said to one of the military guys, I took him, put him in a relaxed state, will they find bin Laden? And he said, they're not looking. He said, I think he meant America, UK, getting ready to invade Iraq. At the time, that sounded so daft, we laughed.
Wow.
Amazing thing, he said they are going to say they have chemical weapons, but they know they don't.
Gosh, it's like we're here again now.
Yeah, kinda. It's a different vibe now. But we consistently kept predicting things. We predicted loads and loads of world events. Then a couple of big shots started following us, and I was bumping into them and having a cup of tea and saying, look, we're working on this thing. And they said, you've got to document it. So we started writing it down and dating it. And one of them said, everything you're talking about has happened. Everything. It's not the odd fluke. So I started to experiment with the clients, and I took them forward 5 years. So people, they'll say, well, am I ever going to meet the love of my life? Where am I going to be living this career? Am I stuck in this job forever? So I've taken them forward. Now, this is the bit that changed everything for me. I had that profound experience. Then I was taking them forward. They would see their future. They were calling me up within months saying it's happened. And it's as if we were getting the best of the future and bringing it into our current consciousness. And I'm not very patient, so things happening sooner. Patience is so overrated. I just loved it. I just thought people are struggling. All of a sudden, they've got the better job. They found the home. They found the perfect partner. And that just did it for me. And I just said, this is my life's work.
I remember you gave me a hypnotherapy session with Future Life. And I'd never been hypnotized before. And I think I'm quite hot. And you said, yeah, you're not very easy. You said people that work for themselves don't necessarily go. And so when we were doing it, I remember sort of really thinking, what can I see? What can I see? And I always remember you saying, Krista, you're not going to see a movie, because you could see more than I could.
Sometimes I can see.
And you've explained that the benefits of it are not just, okay, that feels really a positive thing. It makes me feel good about, my future. It's actually because you've seen it. It's almost like in the real life, you're now more open to it. So it comes in quicker because you're looking out for it.
You're not putting all that stuff in the way.
Yeah.
We have so many things put in the way. It's like we have too many options with business and work these days. Imagine if you know exactly where your best future is.
You're just knocking out all the things that are in your way.
Just get rid of everything that isn't it. But also you change, because we block ourselves. I watch people blocking themselves. So imagine if you start to feel what it feels like to be your future self who's there, something in you changes and you start to draw it to you.
There's such a big thing now, isn't there?
A lot of manifesting is people just going, oh, universe, give me $1 million.
Yeah, writing it down and expecting it's going to happen.
Yeah, something fundamental. You have to back it up, and you have to have a clear view.
And I think you've got to work. I think a lot of people think, I'm just going to write it down every day in my gratitude journal and it'll happen. And yet they're not doing anything in real life that helps them go towards the life that they want. So I think there's a bit of a misconception there.
I think so. But what happened was, it happened to me. So I had the little office in Slough. I used to hate my clients parking there because there was little gits hanging around. And I used to think, oh my God, it wasn't a good area. But it was all I could afford office-wise. And within 3 months, I actually took one of the self-help gurus forward, and he saw himself living in the Hollywood Hills with a TV show. And he said, I've got no plans to go back to America. Within a few months, he had the show, and he actually found the house that he described. I went and stayed there. It was exactly how he described it. And while he was a bit cheeky, but while he was looking at the future, I said, what am I doing? He said, you've got a 3-book deal. And I mean, when you're Anne from Slough, you don't get, and I'm not educated.
It's not something you would have anticipated coming your way.
Yeah, no. Victoria Beckham can go get 3-book deals. It's bloody hard to get 3-book deals.
Yeah.
And it all just happened. The world opened up. I pick up the phone and go, guess who's on the phone? I mean, celebrities came. The old offices were getting shut down, so I ended up coming here. Everything in my life changed. I went from Slough to international. And it's funny because not many people, Bray, Marlow, Maidenhead, actually know I'm here, because I went from Slough to international, because I moved here just as it all kicked off.
It's quite nice in a way, though, isn't it? Because you've got the privacy and beautiful surroundings here, and yet you can step outside into any country and pick up the phone to people in all kinds of industry. And that, to me, that's exciting, really.
It's amazing. I mean, I've been brought in on board meetings. I mean, it's just magic.
Do you find there's any industries that you enjoy working with than others?
I think media is more open. Yeah, I definitely think media is more open. Creative industries are more open. But it's surprising. I mean, I've had major car companies. I've worked for a major bank. I did a whole month with a major bank during lockdown because their people were struggling. And
was that a kind of a Zoom session with employees to help them?
Individually and groups. What we're missing is people don't serve their company anymore. It's a bit, we watch too many episodes of The Apprentice where everyone's stabbing each other in the back and going, what about me?
Yeah.
And
the team culture isn't necessarily
we need to work together. We need to serve the company.
Yeah.
We need to...
And each other, actually.
Absolutely. Work as a team. My work, from then on, I started travelling a lot with work. I went out to South Africa with a company and I went around all their sales teams and I'd get them to see what is the big, huge halls full of people. Go and find their next big product. Go and find what's going to be the big seller next year.
Yeah.
That works great because companies have to keep evolving.
Yeah, and I guess, if you're just dealing with your emails and your inbox, you don't always have the headspace or the time to be thinking creatively. And they're already conditioned to think, oh, we're allowed this time.
Yeah.
Someone, the company's invested in bringing someone in because they want our opinions. They want us to think creatively. So that, I guess, gives them a bit more confidence.
Absolutely. And sometimes I stop them doing something that's going to be
disastrous.
Expensive. Just recently a big company was going to invest in huge amount of tech. If I get that feeling in my stomach, I go, I live by that. If I get that in my stomach, don't. And he said, they're offering me a great deal. And I went, they always offer good deals. They're trying to sell you it. A month later, something miles better come up. And the original, everybody had bought into it, was complaining. It was just wrecking businesses.
You need Anne.
You need me.
You definitely need Anne.
I love it. I love looking at people's businesses. I work with a lot of small businesses and it's just, I just love it. I do the business intuition and business coaching and helping them find their perfect audience, helping them find their genius idea. Out of all the ideas, what is the game changer?
What is the one? And can people that are watching this, can they get in touch with you to do one-to-one coaching?
Sure.
And have you got any new courses coming up?
I've got one in 2 days and that's a coaching course where I teach people to be coaches. The rest will be more in the autumn.
Okay.
Because I find July, August, people just go, leave me alone, I'm on holidays.
Yeah, people need a break. We should be more like Europe and just have August off because we're leaning that way and anyone that's trying to work in August finds it a nightmare.
It is a nightmare. That's when I sit in the sun and write new materials. I'm actually writing up training for business intuition because you look at the people at the top, it's proven that they use their intuition more in business.
Yeah. People
further down that are struggling to move up the ladder, they're relying on facts and figures. You need both, but you need I've got several amazing techniques that nobody else has got for tapping into business intuition. How does yours work? Yours works different from mine. We're all different.
Yeah.
How does it work? That intuition that Einstein talked about, Steve Jobs lived by, but most of the biggest business people in the world talk about their intuition.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because I'm getting to, we'll go into AI next, but everyone I speak to now is, I put it in ChatGPT and they're like, are you using it? And I'm not really using it. I don't know. I feel like I want to use my brain.
I've actually scanned brains and found people using their brain less. And young people are actually struggling to find words because chat's doing everything. It's answering everything.
I mean, I know it's really useful in some ways, but I've always started businesses. I'm one of those people that will just have a go.
I think you're far better off, but I do use chat most days for something. But what I would use it for, I need to know what's happening out there. With futurists, there's some brilliant futurists out there. I'm a slow reader. It will summarise.
So it will scan everything that you need to know.
It will summarise
to you. Yeah.
Yeah, summarise a whole book. Then I know what I need to go and read in that book. Because to read a whole book is going to take me a month. Whereas if I get them to just Can you give me the bullet
give me the
points?
bullet points.
And the chapter list doesn't really tell you. It will tell me, or it will mention that study, therefore I need to. It kind of points me in the right direction.
It's useful like that.
It's a highlighter pen. I did have a situation of something I was doing. I needed to write a proposal, and it was an industry I'm really not familiar with. So I got chat to do it. I just went, look, I've written the whole program.
Yeah.
I've used all...
it definitely. I'm sure it has its benefit. I was talking to someone this week who works in advertising, advertising agency, and one of their clients said, well, why do we need copywriters? And so obviously, and she was saying that PR and marketing, there's always going to be, you'll need to be creative. You need to do things that make people sit up and listen. Advertising industry, she thinks, is going to be affected by it probably the most.
It is, because it's like a lot of things that end up not going so well. I watch industries and they'll go, we're only going to bring in graduates. I go, well, they're not experienced with what you need. And I see them losing clients, bad mistakes. AI is great in some ways, but there's something more that people have missed with this.
Okay. And I know you've been going to AI conferences for years.
I've been going for donkey's years. I go to an AI dinner in London. I was one of the first people there. I've been talking about AI for donkey's years. But there's something more. I'll give you an example. Some friends of mine, they're in central London, and they started to buy lunch from this Lebanese place. One of the girls would run around, get it, bring it back. And they went, this food, there's something more than just the food. So one day she said, what is it you do with that food? And they said, we put good energy in when we make the food. And it's that bit when you're writing copy that you just get a bit excited and that energy and you're loving it. You can feel it. You can feel the energy when the copy's bitten, no matter how good it is with Chat or Grok or Claude or whatever you're using, it's not going to have, there's a little bit of feeling that comes from when a human's written it.
Yeah.
And you start to notice that.
Well, I see it already when I look at people that have created their whole work pitch and things, and I look at it and every slide just looks really mechanical and industrial, and there's not a human side to it.
Do you know what a lot of the images look like? Do you remember when you was a kid and people used to come around knocking on the door with them funny, shiny pictures? they look like that. What it's done, I mean, I've actually asked, say, Grok, I prefer Grok to analyse one of my books and come up with 2-day training from it. And it has outlined the whole training. Now, that just gives me the structure to go and put the rest
I think the structure's really good, because that is the thing, I think, to me, when I'm starting to write a press release or any kind of document, it's always the first word, isn't it? And I'm really good at editing things, but I've had to do everything because I've worked for myself for so many years. But I think that's really useful, to write a press release or something, to actually start off with a few lines of paragraphs and then go in and, change it.
It gives me ideas that I haven't thought of for writing. Then I go away and write it myself and one thing when people read my books, they say, I can hear you saying it.
Exactly, and that's what you want. You don't want to lose that.
No, you don't want to lose that. So it's good for ideas. One of the best things I think it's for is to criticise you. I've had a number of people, especially my practitioners that I've trained, go, I wouldn't like that. And I go, no, it's really good. Just go on and say, this is what I'm working on. What am I doing wrong? Even put in, roast me. It's got all your history. Well,
it's funny because more and more people are having therapy from AI.
Yeah.
And I was talking to someone the other day and she was really angry about something with her family.
Yeah.
She put it in, she said, should I be this angry with this situation?
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, you should. And she was like so victorious because she's like, yeah, actually. But she then put it in the other way around as if she was the person that she was angry with. And I thought that's really interesting. And it did say you're not doing the right thing. And she felt great because obviously it agreed with her. But there's a lot of people that are having deep conversations.
They are, because we're losing our human touch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary, but there will be a lot, and it will be mainly men having AI girlfriends. It is scary.
There's someone that proposed to one the other day on Instagram.
I did. Yeah, I think I think the Stepford wife thing is coming along.
The blow-up dolls are coming back. They're just in digital form.
Yeah. Gross, isn't it? But I think it's because we're getting less good. It's like having an avatar in a computer game. I remember one girl, and she said, well, in real life, I find it hard to talk to people who've got bad skin. My weight's not good. And in there, I'm this amazing goddess.
Which is such a shame, isn't it? Because it's just going to make someone more and more insular.
Yeah.
And
I think we're losing that
leads
ability. We grew up being able to talk to people, socialising, doing things, but you look at the young people. I mean, I know one young guy, and he had a girlfriend. He was heartbroken when they split up. He'd never met her. The whole thing was online.
Well, picking up the phone, I know that, when I was, even a few years ago, when I was working with my influencer agency, and, you'd be dealing with PR companies and, everything's on email. And I would always want to say, can we just pick up the phone? And the second that email thread that had been, back and forth, as soon as you said, can we just have a quick call? Disappear. The phobia of having a phone call.
Yeah.
I think for anyone under the age of 30.
Yeah.
It's just, it's frightening for them.
It is.
Like, we could just 10 minutes. We could just do it.
But I don't think it helps that the internet's so vicious.
I was on Twitter when it started.
Yeah.
Reluctantly, I'm not on X, and actually I was sort of late to the party with Instagram because I thought, I've got enough with Twitter. And at first, it was a really friendly. It was like chatting to people that were a bit famous, and then obviously it became this vicious sort of cesspit of people that hid behind anonymous, chatbot names. And I like Instagram because it's visual and I like taking photos.
Instagram's good. I just find the easiest thing, as soon as somebody's chippy and rude, you just block them.
Yeah.
Don't even give them
it's not worth the
word.
conversation.
Just get rid of them.
No.
And it's a shame, but you're never criticised by people doing better than you.
I've seen yours. I think everyone that follows you is genuinely interested in what you've got to say.
Yeah, and I think it's the energy you give out.
Yeah. I kind of sum up the main problems people seem to have when they come to you, and then give a couple of really good tips that people can go away with and use, whether they're a small business or a large business.
Yeah. My last book, Future Vision, Your Working Life, I wrote that, and I usually write a book in 6 months. Good plug there, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Got that in
They'll all be in the show notes. Yeah, we'll link
Future
to all
Vision,
of Anne's
Your Working
books.
Life. But the reason I wrote that was so many people were struggling, and I knew it was only going to get worse. We're going to get busier. They were not coping with the information, overwhelmed. They're doing too many things, too many options. They're on courses, they're subscribed to everything, and they're not coping and they're not getting anywhere. I could see people looking frantic, and I thought, this is only going to get worse. So I spent a good few years on that book, and I interviewed some amazing people that blew me away. People always seem to be on top of it and looking ahead. And I think the main thing I would take is get rid of it, find your mission and get rid of everything that isn't it.
Yeah.
Get rid
Really
of everything,
focus.
unsubscribe everything, get rid of everything that isn't it, and totally hone what you do. And the other thing is, go beyond you. When I take people into the future, they've got to go beyond where they are now, because where you are now is keeping you where you are. So we have to find that future you. Think of things you do easy now that years ago would have daunted you. Imagine if you could go back and show that past you.
Yeah.
That's what we do the other way.
Watch the progress.
Yeah, go in the future where you're on stage, you might scare you now, or you've written that book, or you've got a major deal, you've come up with a new product, whatever it is, go into the future, find that future.
And see yourself and that feeling.
Really anchor it.
Feel how it feels to be that person.
We really anchor it. We build a massive anchor. So every day you can feel that. And then you just go do it. And that's what happens quickly.
Exactly. Well, thanks so much for sharing your vision and your experience with us. I'm sure we might come and have another chat again, actually. There's so much to talk about with you.